Welcome to Code with Vinay. In this video, we'll see how we can generate a vertical Floyd triangle in Java. Now, this vertical Floyd triangle is actually a variation of a very popular computer problem for beginning computer programmers. The original Floyd triangle problem introduced by Robert W. Floyd in 1962 is a triangular pattern defined by filling the rows of the triangle with consecutive numbers starting with a 1 in the top left corner and then moving in the left to right fashion. So if you notice, there is a 1 in the top left corner and then we are moving in the left to right fashion. The vertical variation, as the name suggests, is a variation of the Floyd's triangle where we move from top to bottom instead of left to right. For example, there is a 1 in the top left corner and then the 2 comes below it, then 3, then 4, then 5 and so on. So we are moving in the top to bottom fashion in case of a vertical variation of the Floyd's triangle. So the problems are similar with respect to the form, that is the shape of the triangle. However, they are different with respect to the content, that is the values used to generate the triangle. The original version of the Floyd's triangle, that is the horizontal variation, is slightly easier to implement as the cursor moves in the left to right direction, which is how the cursor moves normally. But in the vertical variation, we cannot move the cursor to the line above once it goes down a line without using ANSI control codes or external library, both of which are beyond the scope of the syllabus of ICSC as well as ISC. Therefore, for the vertical variation, the loops for controlling the form or the shape will be the same as the regular Floyd's triangle, but we'll devise a logic to change the content or values. We will be starting the coding process with the horizontal variation of the Floyd's triangle, and then we'll modify it to work for vertical variation. Let us dive into the coding part. In order to focus on the task at hand and to reduce the clutter, I'll be writing the bare minimum code to achieve the desired result. That means that I'll directly declare and assign the variables without using scanner class for input. So we'll begin by having the pattern in front of us first. So this is the pattern which we want to generate. There are 5 rows in this pattern, and first we'll concentrate on the form, that is the shape. So let me take a few variables first. So one variable is rows, which will hold the number of rows, in this case 5. There will be one variable for keeping the track of row and one variable for keeping the track of the column. Plus finally we have one more variable for the values which are to be printed. So these are the variables. Let's begin with the loops. We need one outer loop for controlling the number of rows. So I'll say row is equal to 1. Row is less than or equal to rows. And then we'll say row plus plus. And then just to demonstrate, I'll just say system.out.print and I'll display one asterisk over here, and that will be followed by a new line. Now if you notice carefully, the loop is running for rows number of times, that is 5 times, and we are printing one asterisk followed by a new line, which means that if I run this program, I should get 5 asterisks one below the other. Let me run this code for you. So there we are getting 5 asterisks one below the other. But what we want is, we want one item to be printed on row 1. We want 2 items to be printed on row 2, 3 items on row 3, and so on. So let's take care of that first. So what we'll do is, we'll have one more loop, for keeping track of columns, and I'll say call is less than or equal to row call plus plus, and then we'll close this loop over here, and then I'll give a tab over here. So now what is happening, the outer loop is still running for 5 times, but inner loop, for the first time it will run 1 time, for the second iteration it will run 2 times, then 3 times, and so on. So if I run the program again, we'll get the correct form. That is, we are having 1 item on row 1, 2 items on row 3, 3 items on row 3, and so on. Now another thing which we must take care of is the tabs. Please note here 1 item, 2 items, but there is a tab over here. So what we'll do is, we'll say that after we have displayed the asterisk, we'll display the tab character as well. And now we'll get the correct form. So now we are getting a proper triangle over here. But now we don't want the triangle to be of asterisks. We want the triangle to be of numbers. So what we'll do now is we'll say that the initial value is equal to 1. Instead of asterisks, we'll display the value. And then once the job is done, we'll say value plus plus. So if I again run the program, we'll get the regular Floyd triangle. That is the horizontal version of the Floyd triangle. See, we are getting 1, followed by 2, followed by 3, and so on. So this takes care of the regular Floyd triangle, or simply the Floyd triangle. Now what we want is, we want the numbers to increase in the vertical order instead of the horizontal order. I'll first comment out the earlier portion. I'll say /*, we'll say Floyd triangle horizontal. And then I'll just comment out the whole thing. So I'll take this out from here, and we'll have an asterisk / over here. So now what we want is, the next part is, we want to display this pattern. Let me arrange it properly. So this is the pattern we are looking for. The numbers are going in the vertical order now. Now please understand, cursor moves from left to right and from top to bottom. We cannot move the cursor up. So what we'll do is, the initial part will remain the same. That is, I'll just take the same loop again and I'll paste it over here. Now the changes. So if you notice, the first value of each row is actually the row number. Like for example, here we have 1, here we have 2, then we have 3, then we have 4, then we have 5. The solution to this is that before we actually start printing the columns, we'll say value is equal to row. Instead of value is equal to 1, we'll say value is equal to row. So every time we are about to begin with the column, the value will be equal to row. So if I run this program right now for you, see what happens. The first column is correct. 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Now what we want over here is, here we want 6, here we want 7, and so on, like over here. Now we have taken care of the first column. Let us now focus on the other columns. We know that the cursor can only move in the horizontal direction, that is from left to right. That is, once we have displayed 2, we want to display 6. Once we have displayed 3, we want to display 7. Now focus on the first and second column. From 2 we are going to 6. The difference is value plus rows minus column. Notice 2 plus 5 is 7 and 7 minus 1 is 6. Similarly, if you see the third row, 3 plus 5 is 8 and 8 minus 1 is 7. If I move from second to third column, it is 7 plus 5, that is 12. 12 minus 2 is 10. Similarly, if you see the fourth row, 8 plus 5 is 13. 13 minus 2 is 11. So in order to make it into a vertical Floyd triangle, what we need to do is, instead of saying value plus plus, we need to say value plus is equal to rows minus col. And if I run this program again, we are going to get our output. So if you notice over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So this is how we generate the vertical Floyd triangle. Thank you for watching this video on Floyd triangle. I hope you found this tutorial helpful and informative. If you have any question or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And as always, happy coding. Your feedback is valuable to me. I want to make sure that my videos are clear and helpful. You can follow me on the internet on any one or all of these channels.